Oh, what up, my madness society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Loke, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, or subscribe to the channel. It does help my channel get into the algorithm. I would highly appreciate it if you guys tap on the subscribe and the like. If you guys share it, that will help my channel get into the algorithm. And that's all you have to do to support this channel. And it's free. But what I wanted to talk about today was on my other channel, I was asked if I could talk about, certain events, in our culture, movements and stuff like that has to do with the raza, right? So I decided to talk about the brown berets because if there's one thing I've noticed is a lot of people ask me, what are my thoughts on the brown berets or what are the brown berets and all that. So I'm here gonna break down who they were, what it is, and then give my opinion on it. So hold your horses before you guys, start going, hey, this and this and this and that. I'll get to it. Just chill. Now, who are the Brown Berets? The Brown Berets were a movement, right? An organization, political movement. Started in East LA around the 1967, by Dave Sanchez. Okay, so it was a group that was made up of like college students, Vietnam veterans, gang members, young youths, and all of that, right? Who were for the raza, fighting for the raza's rights, for the raza's respect, and just equal equality, right? And they were not, and even though they started in East LA, it just didn't, set in East LA. They ended up in Texas, Arizona, Colorado, Michigan, Yakima, Chicago. They ended up everywhere, bro. Everywhere the raza was at, the Brown Berets, were also there, alongside. And they fought for a lot of things. They fought for, immigration. They fought for, education. They fought for equal wages and workers' rights. They also, joined other groups, in their fight, like, Cesar Chavez in his movement and certain other groups as well, right? They were activists against the Vietnam War. They were activists against war. Because I don't know if people were aware of this, but a lot of the deaths that were coming from the war were Hispanics. They were putting Hispanics on the front line, even though they seen us as not even, citizens, and they seen us as pretty much trash, and because they were discriminating against us and hating on us. Yet for their war, we were like perfect for frontline status, right? Using us as cannon fire, pretty much sacrificing the raza. And those are facts. I'm not making this shit up. I'm not exaggerating. Look it up. Know your history. They were sacrificing the raza, bro. They were using the raza as pretty much guinea pigs in the wars. Facts, bro. Anywho, so pretty much the Brown Berets were the equivalent of like the Black Panthers, they did a lot of things. They helped, get a lot of, education reforms. They helped, workers reform. They helped a lot of things. You know what I mean? They did a lot. As a matter of fact, in the chapter in Kansas City. Yes, there's raza in Kansas City. Shit, there's raza in Nebraska. There's raza everywhere. Anyway, so in Kansas City, in the community of where the Hispanics were, the city wouldn't even go pick up the trash right there, bro. They wouldn't go pick up the trash. They were like, fuck them, let them, suffer. So, the Brown Berets over there, the chapter over there would, get together and they would pick up the trash and stuff like that. So they were doing stuff for the community, for the brown community, right? And each chapter was different because, the chapter in Colorado and everything, they had their own agendas, but, there were movements, for the raza and stuff like that, right? So it was the biggest Chicano movement, political movement and movement in general, right, that has ever took place and was ever established. And that's cool. I got nothing against that. You know what I mean? That's chingon shit, you want to see your people unite for the righteous cause. As a matter of fact, even though they did have gang members in the Brown Berets, because they are a part of the raza, for those who want to be right there talking all that shit and talking about that they're for the raza, but they don't want to include gang members. Well, sabes que, if you're from the raza or for the raza, you have to include them too, because they are raza, whether you like it or not, bro. Whether you like it or not, this shit is attached to the Latino, Hispanic, whatever culture, however you want to say it. It is, bro. You know what I mean? I know people want to hide it and stuff like that. How do you expect people to learn from these mistakes if you choose not to talk about it? When what's stopping from it reoccurring? Don't hide stuff. You never get nothing good out of hiding things. That I promise you. It's important to talk about these shits. But people, panic because they have no faith in humanity. They're so negative. Anywho, and there's that same thought of mind that causes these problems to begin with, right? But anywho, so they were for the raza, the movement, and fighting for our rights and shit like that. So that was good shit. My only problem, and this is not just a problem that I have. I know I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this. I'm gonna get a lot of hate in the comments by all kinds of people. But bro, I can only be honest. My only problem with the Brown Berets, the Black Panthers, Black Lives Matter, the white movements, the Asian movements, and all of those groups, right? My only problem with that is when you brand something with your ethnicity, you're essentially drawing lines, bro. You're already dividing. For these movements are for unity and seeing us all the same as everybody else, but you're already setting the divider by establishing your ethnicity, attachment to it. Not only that, all these groups tend to use the same rhetoric when it comes to like recruiting people, right? Like having people join their cause and their movements and stuff like that. It's like, the same thing that the white supremacist groups use to get the white people to see it in their way and shit like that is essentially the same speech that all these groups tend to give, right? To prioritize your group because it's you against the world, and they want to eradicate you guys, and they want to this and that. Is the same thing that they all say, and what that tends to do is that it creates radicalism, right? It creates these people that your vision is this, but they're getting a whole different vision from it, from when you're talking, because you're not actually making stuff clear. They're getting a whole different idea of what this movement is, right? So it creates like these people that are just like racist towards other groups, right? Because they think that their group is the best, number one, and fuck everybody else, and nobody comes before my ethnicity, and it creates that type of thinking. Even though that wasn't your intent and that wasn't what it was started for and stuff like that, that tends to happen because they don't sit down and actually break down the psychological message behind all of this, right? Explaining to these people what exactly is the goal and who's exactly the villain. Because I guarantee you, if I go out there and I tell people, whether blacks or Hispanics or even Asians, stuff like that, who is the villain here, they're all gonna say it's white. They're gonna say it's white, bro, when white is not the villain here. It is the rich versus the poor. The white people are in the struggle along with us. They are suffering as like how we're suffering, because a rich white person is not the same as a poor white person. All right? They're in the battles with everybody else too. They are not the villains. I hate when people say that whites are the villains, or it's because of these whites, or these whites. Whites are not the villains. They're just tricked to believing that they're equal to the, rich, the upper class, to push. They're pawns in the game too. They just don't realize it. But they're in the struggle with everybody else too. So they're just a piece to the damn game itself. So they are not the villains. If anything, they probably get exploited more than any other group. You know what I mean? Manipulated at least. You know what I mean? Because they take all the heat. While these people are just, bathe in it and they deflect it that way. You know what I mean? They're pretty much their scapegoats. Sad but true. The rich are really good at manipulating and diverting shit away from the actual problem in society. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are gonna say white. If I say who's the problem here, they're gonna say white. I know they're gonna say white when they are not, and that already lets you know where this message and how this message is being received by all these parties that start these groups, right? even though that is not their intentions. But when you don't sit down and actually break it down, because we don't all receive information the same. You could tell a story, and I guarantee you, people will take what you said in different ways. Like, what? How did you get that out of that? Like, I got this. Like, oh, I got this. People they receive messages differently. That's why it's important to sit down and actually break down actually what's really going on. That way, people don't stir down the wrong path, or give you a bad name. That's why you get individuals who use, whether Black Panther or Brown Berets or whites, power or whatever, for their own agendas and their own extreme radical movements, that don't tie into you, but they're representing you guys. You know what I mean? That is the problem, that tends to happen. But obviously it started off as a righteous cause, but, like I said, that extreme power and all that goes to people's heads. It always does. Never seems to fail. But that's when you set an ethnicity, right? Where you brand yourself black or white or brown or the Asian movement, whatever. You're already setting dividers, right? While people can't embrace you guys or join, because you guys are just set at this ethnicity. So you are not welcome here, or you can't, participate in our movement, And it's like we're all humans before we're anything, before we're Asian, black, white, Mexican, whatever. We're humans before any of that. How about a push for the human movement, for humanity in itself? Instead of all these dividers, that divides people with ethnicities. Because what happens when you divide by a specific name? What happens when you divide, schools, in sports or sports teams by states? Don't you get feuds and rivalry? Same with gangs, same with countries. What happens when you start dividing and whatever? You have pride in your state or your country, your street, your high school, your team. And what happens? You create conflict with the other one who has the equal pride as on their side, because they say that they're the best and you're saying, no, we're the best. And conflicts happen because division is always set. That's why it's never good to divide. But that's just my opinion overall on how I view it. The homie over here bugging. Damn, Lippy, catch your way, my boy. Shit, we doing a video, carnal. Anywho, seems like homie's on his way, but yeah, that's just my overall thoughts on the Brown Berets. Who they were. My opinion on the overall subject in itself, and this is no shot at them and all that they have accomplished, because I tip my hats off to that, and no shots, to the Black Panthers, Black Lives, none of that, you know what I mean, or the white groups or the Asians or whatever. It's just that how I see division, but like I said, at the end of the day, these are just my opinions. We could have a decent debate in the comments. Go ahead and leave your opinions on there. We're civil. And leave your thoughts. I'm curious to how people view it. MC Shadow, we out.